What are signs of a highly intelligent person? I feel like people who are actually politically savvy are fairly intelligent. Not just "oh the news said this" geopolitics. I remember reading years ago in some magazine at a doctor's office that women like men who know politics. I know a lot of people don't care these days, but I do feel it's a sign of intelligence. But overall, texting words out, and being well spoken. These are the absolute easiest ways for me to determine if I even want to have a conversation with someone. Just how they speak and carry themselves define highly intelligent. I've worked with brilliant people who didn't notice, or didn't care, they had food on their shirt and didn't apply deodorant. People who are mathematical geniuses and also concert-level instrument players, pianos, violins, etc. and didn't know how to get a haircut. I find it hard to equate people lacking basic hygiene and personal care with high intelligence, but these are the smartest people I've ever met. And some of the smartest in the world. That they don't have interest in anything but very specific and technical systems, ones that challenge them mentally or even physically. A lot of professional athletes I would consider highly intelligent due to how they compete in such a high level of sport. Or the educated route, which is more obvious, but I don't think that education is the definition of intelligence, though an education will go further with an intelligent person than not, I would assume. They're really good at summarizing and dumbing things down for the rest of us in the room. A fake smart person who just regurgitates things they've heard smart people say will not be able to simplify it because they don't actually understand it. A truly intelligent person who knows and understands things, when asked, can summarize, simplify, find metaphors and similes, and otherwise actually share the knowledge, not just the buzzwords. Probably a pretty obscure sign, but I knew a couple of guys in high school that were just really on the ball, really intelligent in terms of study and general knowledge. A sign they have all shared was just being very reserved, kept themselves to themselves, but also very pleasant and open to talk to and always willing to help us lesser folk with homework and stuff. Like I say, it's a pretty obscure one, but they all had it. As someone who is constantly around really smart people, they will be very quick-witted, sarcastic, but not to the point that it's mean. They will have very good recall and problem-solving skills. They will make references to being part of chess club debate, taking XAP class in HS. If they went to an Ivy League, they will say shit like went to college in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Super rewarding experience. I feel that a person who thoroughly listens and can summarize what was said. The person can be doing a bunch of stuff simultaneously, but that active listening skill is an art when the summarization and reply is on point. It's also a sign that the listener has social skills, understands cues, and empathizes. This doesn't sound like much, but it's actually quite a lot. Speaks hundreds of languages with a perfect accent. Solves all Millennium Prize problems the first time they read about them. Has read and can talk in depth about every book ever written in each of the hundreds of languages they know. Wins Nobel and Pulitzer in every category every year. Remembers how to find every old porn video they get nostalgic about. The ability to take a given idea or concept, critically analyze it, and treat it as nothing more than an idea or concept, to be able to consider the universe around a given idea or concept without agreeing with, disagreeing with, or otherwise being affected by it. That is the ability to freely detach and analyze information objectively. 1. Sense of humor. Extra points if it's dark but not offensive. More extra points if it's not. To change one's mind. 3. Willingness to listen, even if intractable. 4. Belief in science over religion when the two intersect. 5. Rejection of stereotypes. 6. Ability and desire to learn new things. 7. Rejection of lists. Critical thinking skills. Ability to feel and articulate their emotions without losing control of themselves. Respect for other people and their experiences and thought processes. Also the ability to reflect on the behavior of themselves and others in a measured and reasonable manner. Based off of an old friend. He took an IQ online test, then he had his friend, who's also very intelligent, take the test, and he also scored very high. So therefore he knew the test was accurate. Amongst other things, that was the last conversation he and I had with one another. Bald. Wears glasses. Egg-shaped head. Starts every sentence with "according to my calculations." Never uses contractions when talking. Asexual, only interested in chemistry books and rock collecting. Can tell you how to hack into the mainframe. People who ask insightful questions, even if they don't know much about the subject matter. shows they're already synthesizing brand new information into terms they can relate to while also drilling further into the parts of that subject that matter most. People who ask insightful questions, even if they don't know much about the subject matter, shows they're already synthesizing brand new information into terms they can relate to while also drilling further into the parts of that subject that matter most. Kindness and compassion. Kind people are able to sympathize and consider viewpoints from other positions. Realizing and accepting that there are other ways of being requires some smarts, apparently. Idiots are usually cruel and insensitive. A highly intelligent person is someone who can explain Einstein's theory of relativity while juggling flamingos and reciting Shakespeare backward, or at least, that's what I tell myself between bouts of unsuccessfully finding my car keys. Being able to tell someone they're wrong and then argue with them when smooth brains try to jump them when they clearly stated something and then the smooth brains bring up something that the statement refutes completely. If they have quick reaction times like they are good at card games that require speed like the game Spit. Intelligence is correlated with how quickly your nervous system can react to stimulus. Being able to explain something complicated in a simple to understand way. Knowing enough about most things to cut through the BS. Alcoholism and depression are a given, of course. Most smart people I know don't like people knowing they're smart, so they act really stupid. Watch their movements. Smart people have a sway to them that you really can't fake. Not being an ass or tits man, but a vag man. Superiorly intellectual and the highest of class of gentlemen make up just a fraction of the population that are true vag men. They're original. You just know when talking with them. Their ideas are their own. They aren't repeating something they've read or something they've heard. A lot of folks here confusing integrity, manners and charisma with intelligence. Remember, one of the most common types of geniuses is the evil genius. Depression and/or imposter syndrome. No, seriously. Intelligent people are far more prone to mental health issues. Introspection is an absolute fuck. Willingness to say I don't know. Even better, I don't know but let's figure it out. Pro tip for anyone doing coding challenges in an interview: greater sense of self-awareness, observant, understanding, curiosity, pattern recognition, mental illness and most likely an optimistic nihilist. They escape society at a young age to live in isolation. And either disappear completely or sometimes build bombs or mail anthrax envelopes. People who don't obsess over intelligence and have at least enough modesty to realize there's always going to be things they don't know. In my experience, intelligent people are less likely to use like as a filler word and more likely to use or etc. A person who listens to you completely, then decides what kind of answer to give you. Dumb version or intelligent version. They will tell you they have a tremendous amount of smarts. Wharton and their Uncle John MIT knew a lot about nuclear. They question themselves a lot, because they have a bunch of friends and acquaintances they know for sure are smarter. I think a pretty good sign would be if they are able to debate both sides of any theoretical issue fairly competently, able to differentiate fact from fiction and living in that fact-based reality no matter what the masses are pushing. Knowledgeable but not talking about how much they know. They're quiet and observe and talk only when they add value. It makes sense to them when you talk about a system. They won't ignore that there is no structure to everything. A highly intelligent person will exude an aura of erudition, and will use words such as scrumtulescent, humility. Spend enough time in higher education and you learn. There's always a bigger fish in the sea. Making moves in silence, avoid attention-seeking habits. Being selective with access in all relationships. Reading through this thread and trying to self-validate by checking for descriptions that fit you. A wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool speaks because he has to say something. When you don't have the need to use your intelligence at all times, dumbing yourself down is good. Strong intuition, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, insightfulness, high level of empathy. Someone who hasn't wasted their time replying to your question. Yep, might delete this later. The first sign of a highly intelligent person. They never talk about how intelligent they are. Using the search bar to find that this question has been posted dozens of times in this sub. They spend zero time on Reddit. And that just knocked the whole gang here out of the box. Isn't pattern recognition the most generic universally recognized sign of intelligence? Admitting when they don't understand something and asking for it to be explained to them. When they are able to admit when they're wrong, or don't need to prove themselves right. Not worrying if other people think that they are smart, because they know that they are. They can easily explore and communicate a concept or point of view without adopting it. Many people who are mentally disabled tend to have a higher IQ than the average person. If you think you're a genius, you tell people. If you are a genius, People tell you, understanding that they don't have all the answers and are curious enough to find out, can communicate effectively with pretty nearly anybody. Without being condescending, talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Asking the question on a global forum, what are the signs of an intelligent person? Interest in a lot of topics, ability to concentrate, good memory, ability to adapt. Always assuming they don't know much but then revealing they are fucking knowledgeable. They understand and can articulate well different positions on a specific topic. They pretty much have a master's degree of understanding of almost all subjects. Highly intelligent person probably won't have Reddit account, so don't ask. Here mate. A very stable genius thing is, I forgot how to do anything right. Personally, I'm a Cancer, but don't pay too much attention to what that means. They don't emphasize how smart they are. Their actions speak for themselves. If they're on Reddit, and they reply to someone using the word actually, he knows that he doesn't know everything, and knows when to ask an expert. Intellectual curiosity. Intransigence is the biggest sign of dumbness. Being able to admit when they're wrong, and doing what's right to fix it. Knowing what they don't know, which is a lot even for the smartest people. Can hold opposing points of view at the same time. Very rare on Reddit. They often have a Reddit username that contains bike. Boya in 1982. Low discuss sensitivity is apparently correlated with high intelligence. Those who can observe his shortcomings and can improve that on his own. They are Al. And maybe they have a little graduation cap on. Meanwhile everybody here just reading to see if they have any signs. They don't ask for a straw when getting a Wendy's chocolate frosty. An almost casual effectiveness with which they accomplish things. Ability to have a balance of emotion and logic in a conversation. Smart people tend to be lazy, but not all lazy people are smart. When they lack knowledge in specific areas, they acknowledge it.